'cause it was against the law. And what the police saw, 'cause me and Julio down by the schoolyard. Welcome to another scintillating edition of the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk, all hopped up on caffeine and major NFL trades, amongst other things. I, myself, and the Mazz, who now just freshly took his reading glasses off because vanity, thy name is... What's up, man?
What's going on?
How you doing, man?
I didn't expect that. What's going on?
You didn't think I was going to drop a mang on you?
Wow, that's great. Great entry there. Hard to explain, but definitely.
No, it's not hard. It's not hard to explain at all.
Well, not for me and you, Mang, but
you gotta get that. You gotta get that stuff, man.
That's perfect. That's
perfect. It's an overcast day here in normally sunny South Florida.
I think we started the rainy season. It's coming. We had some rain yesterday. I think we're finally here. It's been dry, but now we're going to get rain every day now. So.
And we're weather nerds, so we get to play the watch the radar game every afternoon at about 4:00. Like, here it comes, rumble, 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 and this stuff comes roaring in off the Everglades, and craps all over us, and we get about 150 tornado warnings. Tornado watches and warnings.
Yeah.
Severe thunderstorm watch.
Yeah, coming.
Yeah, it's
time-size hell. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So
we're excited. Well, just real quick on the weather thing. My daughter and I, we even talked about this last week. Now for the summertime, I get her for a week, and she goes to her mom for a week, so we split it up. But we're going to go chasing. And what we do is we go down 27, get out there in the Everglades, and just sit because those
looking for tornadoes,
anything. Yeah, just severe weather.
If you get caught on US 27, you only have two directions to go: north and south.
Listen. I'm an explorer.
Or into the sugar cane or into the corn.
Yeah, anyway, it's still, but I'm on the radar. It's not like I don't put us in the middle of the storm, although we have a few times. So can't wait to do it. That's going to be my focus this summer. We're going to get out there for a day or two and just chase. So that's fun stuff.
You know that every time that I see a funnel cloud or a water spout or how about like a storm front that comes blowing in, right? I always hear that Van Halen song from the movie Twister. Down, 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 down. That's so like great Eddie Van Halen. Anyway,
Bill Paxton too. See ya.
I'm telling you,
great movie.
So we got a lot to unpack today, and I mean a lot. We got Mazz Hysteria coming up to finish off the show with new graphics. You get an intro,
which means we may not be here next week, but at least we're here for you now. So
right,
yeah,
and we'll be committing some copyright violations. I think.
We'll figure it
out. It all depends on who wants to actually go. Oh, let's copyright violate the show that has about 30 viewers every week. So, well, the big story being me and Julio and you and Julio and everybody else in Julio down by the schoolyard getting his Garfunkel in Tennessee.
He's now a tight one.
Yes, he is a Titan. One thing that was very impressive is, and of course, every little picture and video you can get of him being at Titans practice, because the Titans had their OTAs, and he showed up, and of course it's Julio Jones. He's been an elite level receiver and athlete for the Atlanta Falcons for 10 years, 11 years. He showed up in great shape. Duh. He showed up and running drills, cone drills, run around in circles and then catch the ball.
I'm tired already.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. And he looked like he was, 22. I mean, so we're going to see how they distribute the ball. I mean, who's going to get the ball there now?
Well, the thing is, I think with them is Julio's game over the last few years. If there's been any knock on Julio, and again, this is a difficult knock, it's just getting in the end zone. He's been a high volume guy, many targets, great catch rate, but just not a guy that they were using much in the red zone. Now, again, was that by choice? Was it just how plays develop? It's football, so there's a lot of mouths to feed, like you're saying now. So is he going to still get his target share? I think so. But I'm curious to see if they're going to put him in more red zone opportunities. Because the guy, I mean, in my opinion, if you can catch the ball at the 30, you can catch the ball in the end zone.
He'll go get it.
And obviously he can still play. So I'm curious to see with that play action that they run so well, if that's going to, maybe give him a little more of an advantage in those situations. So it's going to be interesting to see. But it's going to help Tennessee. It's going to help Tannehill a lot. And Tennessee definitely, if they weren't already on the map in terms of being a contender, certainly now with Julio, that's going to make the difference, I think.
Well, Matt Ryan paid, lots of lip service and tribute to him on his way out. He's going to miss Julio because Julio was such a precise route runner that Matt Ryan knew that he could just, without even looking, he could throw the ball to the spot on the field where Julio is supposed to be. And if you take a look and you take a snapshot of the spot on the field and there's nobody there and the ball is coming out of my hand, but I know that in 1.2 seconds, Julio's going to be there to catch the ball.
Yeah, they had a great rapport.
We're talking about an elite level receiver, and the only problem is I don't think the man is going to be satisfied with 5 targets a game, 6 targets a game. But he's also not a guy who actually runs his mouth. So he and A.J. Brown, by the way, 2 very similar body types. Very similar receiver types, similar work ethics, the whole 9 yards. The younger being the great admirer of the elder. You have a couple of clones out there, one being 8 years younger than the other.
Right.
But you are going to see they're going to sacrifice their egos and their statistics.
Listen, A.J. Brown's a stud. I think last year he was either 1 or 2 in yards per catch.
Yep. Trust me, I've had him on my fantasy teams the last 2 years.
Yeah, so obviously we talked about the play action and how that works and getting guys open downfield. A.J. Brown's going to continue to do that. But now he doesn't necessarily have to worry about facing ones on the other side because Julio's going to draw a lot of attention too. So
who is the safety going to pay attention to?
Yeah, so that, and again, with similar body styles, matchups are going to be an issue with those guys because they can get any ball. It's going to be fun to see. And Tannehill, obviously comeback player of the year, played real well, has got some good numbers. And
you hear that, Adam Gase?
Oh, boy.
You hear that?
We talked about that last week.
Yes, we did.
The clock is on for
go,
Darnold.
Sam. Go, Sam, go.
It's unreal. So anyway, good for Tennessee. They're in the mix. They're in the mix in the AFC.
Yeah.
So it's a conference of quarterbacks. I mean, Tannehill and the AFC is used to be – NFC was more the power conference, but now definitely it's AFC. Outside of the Patriots, clearly. But the rest of the teams, it was almost like the East in the NBA. You always had that one team like whoever James played for was the Heat in Cleveland that got through the East, and then when they got to the West, they were up against the Giant. Let's flip now. The NFL, there's a lot of good quarterbacks in the AFC.
You know what NFL stands for? Not for long.
Yeah, not for long. Things change quickly.
Yeah,
I mean, usually for the better.
Even a lot of people like to talk about the body of work, the 20-year New England Patriots dynasty, but even that had gaps. Even that had down moments. The Patriots didn't go to the Super Bowl every year for 20 years. Hell, they didn't even go to
just about every other. They went,
but they didn't even go to the AFC Championship.
No, I mean,
every
listen,
year for
it's
20
so
years.
hard in any sport to
right.
That's why they throw the word around dynasty. You don't. That's not something they give to every team.
Right.
You have to define that, and it's not a moment. It's a period of time where it's not just excellence for stats for one particular guy for a year. Oh wow, no, it's not like that. It's a body of work that encompasses many years of dominance.
Oh yeah,
and they did that clearly. Through the AFC. And again, what's Brady's Super Bowl record? What is he like, 4-5 or 5-5 or?
No, he's 6. First of all, he's won 6 Super Bowls.
He's got the 6
his
now?
6th one last year.
So he's like 6-5.
It's like 6 or 7 actually.
No, he doesn't have more than 6. Yeah, so I think he's 6-5.
6-5. Yeah, he's lost 5 Super Bowls.
Yeah, again, but he's been to 11 of them. I mean, that's a pretty good trade-off.
Ridiculous.
You have to, in order to lose 5, you have to beat him any, which
right.
he did. So all right. So anyway, yeah. So that's the AFC for. So yeah, Tannehill, the Titans, Julio Jones. It's Julio in the schoolyard, baby. Look out.
Right.
They're going to play.
And let's see. Let's get to 2 non-issues. First of all, the Aaron Rodgers saga.
Maybe not. We argued it. Listen, the NFL, they're not dummies. They 11 games on primetime. The Packers, they must know. Well, here's what we know. We know that Jordan Love finally got in front of the camera. He chalked a little bit. And Aaron Rodgers is not to be found. So I guess
it's like watching a couple that they fight all the time, and it's always every other year they're going to get a divorce. And every other year they get to the point of, oh, that's it. I'm going to a lawyer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna and she goes to the lawyer's office.
Okay, but when's the makeup sex going to happen? Because
exactly.
When are they going to get in bed together first? Make it happen, because they don't seem to be even talking.
It's going to happen.
Listen, I'm on Team Rodgers here. And I do think ultimately he'll play.
We're always on the player.
90% of the time.
Always on the player.
90% of the time. But being on Team Rodgers, I also think that he's going to be a Packer. I mean,
of course.
Stop it. Yeah, he's going to be a Packer.
Stop it.
He's going to be a Packer.
Mary, you're not leaving Bill. Okay, you're just not. Mary is not. Mary is mad. Mary is going on a girls' trip to Las Vegas.
Yeah, she's digging Fernando the pool boy, but
she's not doing Fernando the pool boy. No. Because she knows that she is going back to Bill. She is going back to the 3-2 ranch with the 2-car garage and the nice pool, and Bill better be skimming the pool like I tell him to every other day.
Yeah.
Okay, but guess what? You're going back.
Going back to Bill.
Okay. Your teenage son isn't going to be the man of the house yet. Okay. Listen, a lot of and the press is eating this up. It's depressing. I literally switch channels on it now. I literally switch channels. I like to watch the ESPN morning lineup, with the exception of First Take. First Take gives me a headache. I just Stephen A. Smith. I know about Bob. It's my morning, dude. Let me get through my coffee.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Okay, it's like a little much.
It's a lot.
But
they're West Coast, aren't they?
But no, First Take comes on.
They're in New York?
Yeah. And First Take comes on by like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
But it's enough to have to deal with Greeny going, good morning, blah, 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 blah. And then it's the first thing right up that they lead with Aaron Rodgers, and I'm just like,
I'm out. Yeah.
Bye. Let's go see what Robin Meade on HLN has to say about some sort of pet thing or anything, and we'll talk about the Westminster Dog Show in a little bit.
Yeah, and the Jordan.
Yes. That's coming up, and that's coming up. It's coming up.
Questions.
Save it.
Okay.
Wait for it. But they lead with it, and now the latest. The latest speculation is that there will be a reconciliation for the kids. They'll get back together for the kids. And if they can't work things out over the span of the next year, promises will be made to where they will shop Aaron Rodgers. They will let Aaron Rodgers shop himself and find a situation that he likes, and he can go next year, which is fine by me. But can we stop? Can we get on to more important news?
Yeah, but you don't think that the shopping process has begun? I mean, up until when they first took Jordan Love, nobody knew that Aaron Rodgers was even going to be considered on the market. That's when the door started to open. And over the last year, it's continued just to stay open. And now I'm sure maybe there haven't been discussions, but there are GMs that are going around looking, what can we give up for Aaron? So it's already, at least from the other team's perspectives, whatever teams may be generating interest are like, here's what we're willing to do in case we get a phone call type of thing. So I do think there's been at least, those backroom discussions that you always hear about or don't hear about, I guess, technically. Well, I think in this case, too. It's Aaron Rodgers. Who doesn't want Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback?
Right, but even Tom Brady, when Tom Brady went through his free agency period, he even said, I wanted to get it over as quick as possible. Because look what's happening with Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. Everybody's talking about just the conjecture about trading them or moving them.
Yeah, but those were guys that
are losing their minds.
But those were guys that wanted to stay with their organizations.
Right.
But I don't think you have that in this situation.
Right.
I think Aaron is more like, you stuck it to me. Now I'm getting ready to stick it to you.
I understand. It's a fight between. Listen, it's the couple that fights and gets back together.
We'll see.
Fights and gets back together.
I still think they will, just because of what we talked about with the NFL and the scheduling and stuff.
Sure,
to me, that's
they'll
a huge
get together
tell.
for the kids.
But it's other things too. So we'll see.
And Aaron Jr. needs to have another year to learn how to fix the lawnmower and mow the lawn himself, and learn the pH balance of the swimming pool, and then mom and dad can get a divorce. course, and Dad can go out to Denver or out to Las Vegas or wherever he's going to go and lead the swinging lifestyle for the next 4 or 5 years until he's done with football. You know, he's not going to go be he's not going to go be the host of Jeopardy. He's not. By the way, Mayim Bialik is great at it. Mayim Bialik, you know, with Amy Farrah Fowler of The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, she was just on.
Blossom. Yeah, she was just on.
Yeah.
She just did 2 weeks.
She was good.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I like her.
Amazing at the job.
Yeah, she's smart. She played a smart character, and you can tell she's a smart lady. Yeah,
she's when she walks into any room, you literally have to have a room full of Nobel laureates for her not to be the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
So, she has great personality and everything, but enough about Jeopardy. And let's see, Big Nothing Burger. The news is just trickling out of Miami Dolphins OTAs, just trickling. And I'm loving Coach Flores' ability to control the narrative about what comes out of there, because all we're hearing is positives. It's all we're hearing is positives. And believe me, the Miami Dolphins press corps has plenty of guys like Omar Kelly and Armando Salguero and all these guys.
They're digging.
They're just waiting to something negative to throw out there, and they're trying so hard. You can see them both in their little negativity canoe, just paddling as fast as they can to try to drum up some sort of smoke about Xavier Howard and his contract situation. Okay, because he hasn't come to the OTAs. But Xavier Howard's also rehabbing an injury.
Right.
And Ogba is rehabbing an injury. So these guys are trying to dig as hard as they can, and I think they're starting to realize that they need to go into just conjecture and editorial mode, because Flores isn't going to give them anything. He's not. He's not going to give them anything.
Yeah, their story's the non-story. It's like,
right.
These guys, because they're trying to create what's not there.
Right.
So it's early. I mean, like you said, everybody's hungry now for NFL. They're tasting it.
Oh, yeah.
It's right there. They can taste it. They can smell it. They can see it. Oh,
hey, man, you got any news out of OTAs, man?
It's coming.
Here's some pictures. Ooh, pictures.
Yeah, and like you said, aren't we tired about talking about Aaron Rodgers? So obviously local guys are going to latch onto their teams and try and match the hype, sort of thing.
I mean, listen.
Dolphins every team has stuff going on. Dolphins have stuff going on.
Yeah.
They're a team now that people are paying attention to. So knowing the coach, knowing the success they've had in such a short time, knowing their draft and where the direction they're headed, they're a story. Dolphins are a story.
The only thing you're getting out of there right now, I mean, a couple of weeks ago, everybody was wringing their hands about how Tua said that he didn't really know the playbook very well, and he had to wing it a few times. And of course, guys like Kelly and Salguero just went bananas with that. Oh, what kind of craziness? What kind of insanity? Oh, yeah. I was like, how about this? How about you speculate about this? What about the kid has time to learn and help craft a playbook with his 2 offensive coordinators to where he does know what he's talking about and does know what he's doing out there, and he's confident, and he's Tua of 2018, okay, winning national championships. Okay, get right, boys. Okay, because now the only news coming out of there, and they're trying so hard to manufacture the Xavier Howard contract dispute, and that's fine. You know me, I'm all business. If you got to trade him, trade him. Get a first-round draft choice for him next year. But now it's speed. You can't teach speed. And will they or won't they sign Melvin Ingram? And that's it. That's all you got. That's the only real tidbits you got. Everything else is all variants of conjecture, and now it's all about, and it's boring news. It's boring news. And me, after all the tumult of the pre-Flores era, the Adam Gase era, okay, for me, I love boring. Bore me to death.
Yeah.
Bore me to death and excite me during the preseason. Show me what's up in the preseason. Okay.
Not too much, though.
Not too much, though. Don't show everybody.
Yeah.
So moving on to the playoffs. We have the NHL playoffs happening, which we will talk about the NHL in Mazz Hysteria.
Yes,
we'll get to them.
I have a question. Yeah, certainly.
But those playoff races are heating up, getting really hot. I want to see Tampa Bay versus Las Vegas, the Stanley Cup final. Whether that's going to happen or not, I don't know. I'm not a big hockey expert anyway.
Yeah, me either. But again,
go Panthers.
I like hockey. I like going to hockey. I like watching hockey. Hockey playoffs are exciting. It's almost like, it raises the bar all the time. There's always a game that is 2 overtimes, 3 overtimes. Next goal wins. It's always the excitement. Every shot, you're like, and that's hockey. So
right.
it blows my mind that there's just not enough of the interest. We'll get there. We'll talk about it.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. Yeah. But on to the National Basketball Association.
Yeah.
Those what we were starting to last week or the middle of this week, we were starting to think that we were going to get a couple of blowout series. We were starting to think that Phoenix was going to crush LA, which last night Clippers came back. Now it's a 2-1 series. And everybody saw sweep. Everybody was seeing brooms dance in their head over New Jersey and Milwaukee. Okay. And that has now been brought back to a 2-1. And we got them, they're playing today, right? They're going there. They're going they're tipping off like almost right
3
after the show.
3 o'clock, I think.
Right. So
that game was a low-scoring game. I think the score in that game was 86-83.
There have been grumblings of collusion. Okay, like Adam Silver made the phone call to both coaches and said, "Yeah, why don't we make this a grind it out? I want to get a little more out of that market, and we're going to get a little more out of this market. I need an extra game out of the New York market and the media market." I was like, really?
Who is this?
This is rollerball? Is that what it is? Where you manipulate the game as it goes along? Is that why it was such a low-scoring game? I don't think so.
I think that's the aberration of the series. I don't think that's the norm. Both teams can score.
They were both just tired.
Well, here's the thing: the Nets, they're not going to just not score 83 points today. So that being said, I think the focus is going to be on offense.
They average like 122 a game.
And the Nets have never played defense either, so you have to assume
they gave
that
up 121 a game.
That this game there's going to be some scoring in today's game. But I'm on the Bucks today. I think the Bucks win this game. I think they showed a little bit of resolve in that game. Again, defensive resolve, which is what they're going to try and do today. They're going to try and limit to some degree, not Durant, because you can't. They don't have a guy that can match up against him. Maybe Giannis. But they're going to try and limit Kyrie. They're going to have to win with bench guys today. They're going to have to win with Joe Harris scoring 20. They're going to have to win
when they smoked him in the first 2 games, that's how it happened.
Again, that's going to have to be the recipe today. But I think Milwaukee's going to bring it today as well. I think a high-scoring game, like I said, and I think Milwaukee ties the series today. So we'll see. I think it should be a good one. More importantly, other games, the Sixers, they're 2-1 in their series. It's all about Embiid. If he's healthy, if he can get through at the knee.
He is pulling some legendarily tough guy stuff right now.
He's definitely making
he's playing on that bad knee. And what did he drop, 39 the last game? Yeah.
Here's what he's doing. He is exposing Simmons in the sense that how long are people going to say, oh, the guy's the most athletic player on the floor. Oh, he's an amazing defender. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that. Instead of looking at reality and saying he can't shoot, he doesn't want to shoot, and he can't hit a free throw. And he doesn't make necessarily the guys around him better, which is what one of the arguments always is.
Anthony Hardaway?
Yeah.
Penny?
Yeah.
He's Penny.
Well, I think he's more physically gifted than that. But still, you're close in the terms of where it was him and Shaq, and it was, Shaq looked around and went, this isn't working here in Orlando. So, obviously he went to the big show. But that being said, I'm not sure. What are we at now? Going to be year 4 next year for Simmons? And if he hasn't made the adjustment at this point, and he's got the coach that you would think that could get the best out of him at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, again, Simmons' stat lines look silly sometimes. He's all over the board. He's 14 points, 10 rebounds, 12 assists. I mean, the guy, he does everything. But he has to do other things more importantly to the position, which is shooting and hitting free throws. And also, too, being a locker room guy. And it's clear it hasn't changed, despite Rivers, that the dynamic between Embiid and Simmons is not good. And you're looking at Embiid now being the warrior and the guy that the team is going to lean on, and that's going to only alienate, in my opinion, Simmons even more. So that's an issue, and it may not be a fixable one. So, again, Sixers go as far as Embiid goes. I don't think they'll beat anybody in the West if they can get out of the East. So we'll see. But they'll probably get past the Hawks. I think the Hawks are good. Trae Young.
They're
phenomenal.
a year away from being a serious contender.
Yeah, I mean certainly
because strictly due to their age, to their core, their nucleus of players.
Yeah.
Whether that be Siakam and of course Young and
not Siakam, Capella.
Oh, Capella.
Yeah, Capella.
And Capella and Young and Collins.
Yeah, Bogdanovich.
All these
guys
they're all
play.
young. They're all babies.
Yeah.
They're all babies. We're talking about what is it? Capella is a 6-year veteran or a 5-year veteran. I think he's the old man of the bunch.
Yeah.
Okay, he's the old man.
They can play. So they're going to be obviously viable next year. And again, this series isn't over. They're going to compete.
Right.
But it's as long as Embiid goes, the Sixers go. And to me, it's Sixers win this one. So.
Oh, and by the way, let's remember that the success and the maturity, the progress of the Atlanta Falcons, let's give Vince Carter a little bit of credit there. Because he played last year during the quarantine and the COVID-shortened season.
First 60-year-old player to ever play in the NBA.
Exactly.
Vince Carter. Yeah. Can still jump, though.
And he was there to mentor guys like Collins and Young and Bogdanovich, and he was there to show them what it took to be a pro.
Yeah.
A lot of them gave him a lot of props last year when they were rookies and they were babies and they were like, oh, God, it's so great to have Vince Carter on the team. And then Vince retired. So there's a little sprinkled, a little, Vinsanity salt there, that in as much as that he showed
he left his
these
mark.
young guys. Yeah, he left his mark a little with those guys. So
yeah.
I see Atlanta being extremely dangerous unless they do something stupid to devaluate that or to diminish that core, that young lineup, which they will all continue to develop together. Young is going to be more dangerous next year.
Sure.
Okay, he's going to be enough with the histrionics and enough of playing to the crowd.
What'll make him better is, again, being a young player. It's you're trying to get yourself,
right.
going. You're developing your game.
Right.
The next step for him is to get the guys around him to play better.
Yep.
And you
Which
can
he
see
does.
that this year. No, for sure. But that part of the game, once that gets to an elite level, which it will, and that just takes time, then Atlanta will be as viable as any team in the East, for sure.
See, and that's part of the Vince Carter effect, because when he was a rookie, it was almost to the point that he was facilitating, he was passing, he had outrageous assist numbers because he was just trying to make everybody happy. It wasn't about him. He would hit the big three-pointer, but he was trying to make everybody happy. And that's when Vince Carter sat him down and said, shoot the damn ball.
Yeah, well, Vince wasn't afraid to shoot.
Yeah, exactly. So you listen to that man.
Yeah.
All right, so
in the West.
To the West.
To the West. West, Young. Go West, Young, man.
Go Jazz.
Yeah, F the Clippers. In basketball, they're not my Houston Astros of baseball because they didn't cheat.
They're not cheaters.
Okay, I'm just saying. Let me finish my thought. They didn't cheat, but F the Clippers, F Kawhi. I don't want to hear any more. Bring Kawhi to Miami trades.
Bring Kawhi to Miami.
I'm done with that. Don't even discuss
everybody.
it. Anyway, Utah. They look pretty good. The Clippers came out, which they have done historically in the playoffs, is when their back's against the wall, they usually come out and play hard, and they did. They smacked Utah last game. But it's 2-1. Utah's got the lead. And obviously, at times, it just seems like where the hell is Paul George? Okay? Like, where the hell is Paul George? You can't be 4 of 16 in a game and expect to win, but that's Paul George. It's like half the games he plays, you don't know what you're going to get. They always say, Paul George, one of the best two-way players in basketball. Yes, the Clippers play great defense. Paul George is a good defender, but he's not there to just defend. He's there to score. The Clippers need points. That's how you win games. And if you go 4 of 16 enough times, you don't win those games. So as good as Kawhi has been, and he's had an amazing playoff run, he's been efficient. He's 34 points a game. He's been amazing. But you would get that from Kawhi. You expect that. you need to get more from Paul George, and I just don't see it because it hasn't happened. They keep saying it, but it hasn't happened, and it's not going to happen in a series against Utah that plays as good as they play defensively.
Nope.
Their wing guys can defend as well, and they're in trouble in the series. Even though it's 2-1, they won big at home. You thought they would. I thought they would, but this is a series. This is not just a win at home, and the inconsistencies, I think when we look back, when Utah wins the series, you're going to go and you're going to have a myriad of reasons why. The game time off, load management, didn't play together, Paul George inefficiency, whatever. Doesn't matter. Utah is going to win the series. So
okay, well let me drop a hot take here. Paul George is a bully. Okay, he's a bully. Okay, we've seen it. We've seen it time in and time out. Okay, it's all about player levels. Okay, it's all about player levels, and the great players can elevate their game, especially against other individual players consistently.
Yes.
And here's the problem with Paul George. Okay, he has this upper echelon, this elite level of play. Okay, but when he runs into players in the playoffs that are at his level or just a notch above or at his level and playing out of their minds because it's the playoffs, playing with that sense of urgency that he can't seem to find. He can't hit that gear. He doesn't have that turbocharge. And he will either bring his average numbers or below his average numbers. He doesn't go the next step. And the only time that his teams are successful is when he takes that next step. Well, I saw it a million times when he was with the Pacers. Think about how many times that LeBron James took the Indiana Pacers to the woodshed.
Oh, no question.
Okay, to the woodshed.
You know, the analogy I like to use are ceiling and floor. Okay?
Exactly.
When you look at a player, you look at a player's ceiling, which means the maximum potential that he'll be able to reach.
Right.
And then you look at the floor, which is his baseline, which is, okay, this is what worst case scenario, you fall down, you're on the floor, this is what you get.
Right.
Paul George has a tremendous ceiling. Okay, yep. I mean, he can go off for 30 and 10, 3 blocks, steals. He can do all these things. But the problem is he doesn't get to that ceiling enough to justify his floor. And his floor is bottomless sometimes. Like an example, like I said, where he went 4 of 16.
Disappears.
Your floor, being an elite player, can't be 12 points, 4 boards, and whatever, and not be a factor. Okay, that should not be a floor for a player to be considered at his level. And so clearly, then what do you say? You look at Paul George and you go, well, maybe he's not at that level. Because you have a pretty good body of work that you're looking at now and you're going, well, when did he really get to that ceiling and how long did he stay there? And over a body of work, how many ceiling games does he have and how many floor games does he have? And I think in his body of work, when you go back, you look and you see in Indiana and certainly now that there's a lot of games where you can't see the floor. And that's not good. That's not going to win games. So they're down 2-1, the Clippers. Utah, best record in basketball, I think, for the season. There's a reason. Hell of a series, but I'm on Team Utah, and I think Utah is going to win the series.
Sure. Yeah. I'm all over the Jazz. It's not just because one of my favorite all-time players happens to be a minority owner in the team now, go D Wade. But it's a matter of they're just a more balanced team. First of all, they're a more balanced team. And Spida's going bananas. He tweaked an ankle, but guess what? At the press conference afterwards, they were like, well, the game got out of hand. I could have gone back in the game if it was close.
Listen, if you remember in last year when they got bounced, he still was amazing in the bubble. But you only saw him for 5 games.
Right.
But he went crazy.
Went nuts.
This year,
Donovan Mitchell
different.
is elite.
Yes. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm sorry I didn't mention that because that's the reason why Utah is going to win the series.
Yeah, because everybody talk about Damian Lillard and everybody talk about this guy and that guy out of the West. Donovan Mitchell is elite.
Yeah, he is. He's in that class right now. He's showing that consistently. Okay, so you look again, ceiling and floor. That guy's ceiling is forget about it, and his floor is extremely high.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's a player that's
and once again, going back to Paul George, okay, I mean, this dude has been around since, 2011? 2000.
It's been 8-9 years.
10?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Okay.
Veteran player, max guy.
That 4-year run with LeBron James, and the year before that too, in 2011, James schooled the Pacers in the conference finals. Then, okay, he runs up against a player that is as good or better than him as far as that mid-season level of play. Okay, the regular season, mid-season, peak level of play. You hit the playoffs, and somebody punches him in the mouth. He's got nothing. He's got nothing to come back with. You punch him in the mouth, and he starts laying bricks. Simple as that. So that's the reason why the Clippers are doomed. There's the reason why the first thing I said when they went and got Paul George 2 years ago, I was like, doomed.
You know, the only reason why I would want the Clippers to win this series is that so they can get schooled by the Suns in the next series. So I can watch Chris Paul just abuse them and Booker and Ayton and all the guys that are destroying your MVP over there in Denver, which we'll get to.
We're talking about a four-headed monster right now. We're talking about a team with the best balance in the entire NBA. The best balance. They have two guys that can fill it up. They have a facilitator. They have leadership. Not only coming from Chris Paul, but from Jay Crowder. Okay, they have a deep bench. Okay, if I were to bet my rent money on any team in the NBA right now, my money's on Phoenix.
Yeah, me too.
Phoenix is a monster, and they keep building steam.
Yeah, here's the segue for that. They're up 3-0 in their series against Denver. Obviously, Denver's been without Jamal Murray. You can see where that has hurt them now to this level in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're going to have to go get another guy after Murray comes back. They'll go get another guy, and if they get another guy, then they're going to contend.
Yeah, but your Phoenix Suns and Chris Paul, what he's
MVP.
done. He has been there now, obviously, since the beginning of the season, a couple of months. What are they, 5-6 months since the opening of camp? And he went to a team that basically was just already there, and they just added him.
Right.
All the young guys you mentioned, Booker, who's unguardable, Ayton, who's just a young rising star.
I mean, listen, all you got to do is look at this, okay? Chris Paul went to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And that team made the playoffs in the bubble.
Yeah.
Okay. They got bounced early, but he was leading a team that had a good rookie, small forward, a shooting forward, and
they were also a very young, somewhat talented
a bunch of G League guys. I mean, come on.
But he got there and he changed the whole landscape.
He changed the whole landscape. And once again, I talk about a player leaving a legacy, an effect of a player, especially a great player. Okay, you can believe the Oklahoma City Thunder. They got some of that CP3 stink. They got some of that. They learned. If those kids did anything, they shut their mouth. And if any, I'd have a notepad, or I'd be on my phone with notes. Yes, sir. No, sir. Every word that come out of his mouth. Okay. He is the guy who deserved first of all, he's the guy who deserved the MVP. Okay, sure, Jokic, fantastic. Great season. Awesome. Good for you. Okay.
Jumping on my question.
But okay, go ahead.
No, you're jumping on my that's we'll talk about the MVP. Yeah, don't worry. We have a little something to say. We love the Joker.
I'm a little irritated.
Yeah, I mean, I was irritated. We love the Joker, but we also
realize 3 years ago when Chris Paul was having all these troubles, that I was like, come to Miami.
Yeah, they were pointing to Chris as being the issue with Westbrook and all the other. Meanwhile, it wasn't.
Come on, stop it.
Here's the thing: Chris wanted to win, and he had a way to win, and you didn't buy in, and therefore he left because he knew it wasn't going to happen.
Nope.
And both places he's been since, including, remember, Houston was an injury away to get into the conference finals again 2 years ago when he was there.
Yep.
So. Listen, Chris Paul to me right now is the reason why Phoenix is in the position they're in.
He is the I hate to use this analogy, but being a huge Miami Dolphins and Dan Marino fan, he is the Dan Marino of basketball right now. He's a guy who dishes it. He's a guy who leads. He's a guy with a strong personality.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay,
demands a lot,
and it demands a lot, and he commands the room. Okay, but he's a winner. And the only thing he doesn't have on his mantle is a trophy. Okay, the only thing he doesn't have is the world championship, and that might change this year.
You know what?
I like his chances.
I love his chances, and if Harden,
I'm cheering for him.
Doesn't come back, for whatever reason,
I'm going to change my auto insurance to State Farm just for him.
or if Harden's not 100%, I'm on Team Phoenix. There's no question there. Team Phoenix, go Chris Paul.
Go Chris Paul.
And I'm changing my insurance too. So
yeah,
I agree with that.
That's it. Sorry, call my Allstate guy. Donna, call Allstate and tell them we're switching. So we've blown through the NBA. Have we got any more NBA? No, we're done.
Now a little baseball stuff. Baseball's a grind. So
your boy got sent down.
Jared Kalenic did get sent down.
Yeah.
Young guy, Seattle. They're not going anywhere this year.
happens.
They'll bring him up. He'll be fine. The dude was one of the best hitters in college. That doesn't change.
Seattle.
Yeah, he'll be fine. But there's two little quick baseball things I want to talk about. One of them is the dominance of Jacob deGrom and how good he is. ERA 0.6.
And we're both NL East guys. You're a Phillies
Yeah.
fan. I'm a Marlins fan. It's just like, oh my God.
I mean, he makes the best hitters look silly. He had this little flexor strain injury. He only went 6 innings last start. Still dominated in the start. It doesn't look like it's going to be a serious injury. Please, baseball gods, hear me now. Keep this guy in the field.
Well, he even listen. He blew off in his press conference. He blew off speculation that he was going to go on the IL. Okay, he said, he said that's another thing is he gives a strong interview now too. All these years that he has spent, the 5-6 years that he has spent dealing with the New York City sports press.
Yeah.
Now he's like, I do all kinds of things. I check my tendons and ligaments, and I'm fine.
Little blue emu on there. He's good
exactly.
To go.
He's like, rub some dirt on it and walk it off.
Yeah. But let's keep him healthy. Let's keep that dominance going. I want to see where he ends up. The comparison is Gibson's year. Oh, no question. The comparison was Gibson's year when he dominated, was like a 1.4, 1.5 ERA for the year.
With the year after they raised the mound.
Yeah, I mean, but now what he's doing is just silly. It's just
Bob
silly.
Gibson was a monster when the mound was 3 inches shorter.
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about a dude who was 6'4", 230 pounds, who could bring it. Okay, before they had jugs guns, he was throwing 100 miles an hour about every pitch. Like, here, hit this.
He was lighting it up.
Okay,
and
then they raised the mound.
Yeah, they made it a lot less fair. But you know what? Maybe they should. The strikeout rates, we talk about it once in a while. It's everybody striking out. That's the norm in baseball now. But still, what deGrom is doing, it's just, again, making the best hitters look terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
The other quick baseball story was, did you see Garrett Cole fumbling through his post-game press conference when he was asked about, I don't know what the actual, it's some sort of tack that pitchers have been using to put on the baseballs to give them better grip, which then gives them
I saw the last 4 or 5 seconds of the hamana.
Wow. Not only did he admit it, okay, but which again, all these rules, unwritten rules, all these things in baseball, culture, whatever, he's like, yeah, ultimately guys pass these traditions down. They're always trying to, again, find the edge because they feel hitters have the advantage. Of course, hitters feel pitchers have the advantage. But, man, he looked really silly. It was like, and then whatever. So baseball's made a statement. Baseball said they're going to crack down. Baseball came out and said,
you can't use more boogers on your hat no more.
we're gonna keep an eye on this, or at least get into it more. So it's going to be interesting to see.
You shouldn't have said nothing. Now we got to watch you.
Well, people were starting to talk already. It's the whole cheating thing. Listen,
who is the kid for the Mets that came out and said that baseball's been adjusting the balls for forever because they want to manipulate the game to suit this or that. I forget who the kid's. It was the kid for the Mets.
He plays now for them?
Yeah.
Got traded to them? Was it Lindor?
No, he's a heavy hitter too. Italian kid. It's killing me.
Conforto?
Conforto.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding,
Michael
ding, ding,
Conforto.
Yeah, I don't know. But Conforto came out and basically was very critical of MLB and how they manipulate the baseballs and everything. So the players are calling BS.
The thing is that when cheating, whatever you want to call it, these are rules that, again, are either unwritten or they're talked about, but they're not enforced. It's almost like, I mean, well, like baseball's the only sport where you can do certain things that you know are wrong, and then as long as everybody else is doing them, it's okay. That's one issue.
I'm laughing because when I first started watching baseball, when I was a little kid, when I was about 7, 8 years old. Okay, so we're talking about the early 70s because I'm 100. But you had guys like Gaylord Perry and Phil Necro, Raleigh Fingers, and when Raleigh Fingers famous for the handlebar mustache. Okay, how much handlebar mustache wax do you think was on the friggin' ball?
Yeah,
every game. You got these guys that had had goatees, right? And then they're great and they have all-star seasons, right? And beards and goatees, and then they go play for the Yankees where you're not allowed to have facial hair, and they suck.
ERA goes up by 1.5.
Why is that?
Yeah, it's interesting. Again, why? Just fix it. Just fix it. Just identify what the rules are.
Vaseline ball
Write a new rule book for baseball, or at least put a bunch of asterisks in there, figure it out, and say, you can't do this, you can do that, and move on. Okay, enough with this gray area BS stuff. Because the thing is that not every pitcher is using that advantage. So clearly, by rule, if you look at cheating by definition, at least my definition, is gaining an advantage unfairly against your opponent by using methods that are generally breaking the rules.
Sure.
So if you know that you're applying a substance of any kind to a baseball to increase the baseball's performance outside of what you're doing to the baseball, that's cheating. And if you're doing that, you are a cheater. Okay, so that's it. You hit trash cans, you cheat. You put shit on a baseball, you cheat. You steal signs, you cheat. Whatever the things are, you're cheating. Don't do it. Fix it. Make a rule, stand by it, enforce it, and move on. So we can have these.
Just get rid of all the rules and turn everybody loose.
I mean, it's insane.
Just go.
I mean, he looked so embarrassed and sad and scared, and he didn't know he was going to call somebody out.
Let me tell you what. Baseball would be much more interesting. Who was it? There was a comedian that said, let them all take steroids. Let everybody take steroids.
Again,
cork the bats.
If everybody's doing the same thing, that's not cheating. That's what I'm saying. So if everybody's going to put stuff on go put stuff on a baseball. I don't care, but at least let everybody do the same thing. You know what's going to happen to poor Garrett Cole? In a few days, he's going to wake up. There's going to be a horse head in his bed next to him.
Right.
He's getting or a fish in the mailbox.
You got to watch that baseball money.
Yeah,
old
be
money.
Be careful there,
old
buddy.
Money.
Yeah,
burn your house down with you in it.
Maybe stuttering was the best option to that press conference. Plead the fifth.
Oh my God. Just turn them all loose. Let everybody listen. Would you like to see a baseball game where, the starting pitchers go 8 innings, they strike out 15 guys, okay, but everybody that they don't strike out hits 500-foot home runs, okay, or hits line drive doubles and triples that go through a glove. Knock the first baseman's glove off his hand.
Here's what we do: make the bats bigger. Remember those red plastic bats? Remember like Popeye and his bag? Make the bat like this big, and
make them out of polyurethane or something. I mean, just go nuts.
But let everybody do the same thing.
Sure,
just figure it out. It's a joke.
You throw 115-mile-an-hour curveballs.
It's just insane. Spin rates over 4,000. People will be like, "What was that?"
You can hear the ball goes. All right, I'm dizzy from it. It's hilarious to me. Yeah. But
leave it to baseball.
Yeah, of course. And baseball, baseball tries to pass themselves off as this staid institution.
Yeah, of elders and respect and whatever it is.
Whatever.
Yeah, move on. Get over yourself.
You know what? Let's break out the Mazz Hysteria. How about that?
Is there music?
Yes, there is.
Are there graphics?
Well, yes, there is. There's
all right.
music, there's graphics.
Wow.
And I'm gonna turn the sound up for you, just for you. Are you ready?
I think I am.
All righty.
Let's do it.
How's that?
That was awesome. Thank you.
That was great.
I loved it.
That was cool.
That was awesome.
Well, guess what? It's all you.
Let's do it.
And I'll let you see it afterwards because right now our monitor. He's got a fabulous monitor just off to his right, and it's a nice little 36-inch LG high definition flat screen television that will not
link
up.
Yeah.
So
I see myself, but it's only the shadow because the light's hitting it from outside, and I can see like.
Oh, shut up!
Just my chest.
I hate technical difficulties. Oh, it gets me so. Work, Mang.
Mang.
What's the matter, you Mang?
Let's get some questions, Mang.
Mang. So yeah, let's get down to some questions.
Yes,
I'll ask the questions around here.
Let's talk about some questions. This is just some stuff out there right now, right?
All right. So yes, this is some stuff, and it's some stuff that a lot of people are hysterical about. Thus, the catchy name Mazz Hysteria. So. First of all, let's lead off because we talked about him a little bit during our football segment, and that was Aaron Rodgers and the drama in Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you, who would be a better fit for the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love? I mean, honestly, Rodgers. Listen, Rodgers. I fully agree that the team tailors itself to Rodgers' skill set. But if you were to get everybody else involved and change things a little bit to alter it, does Jordan Love actually fit better into the scheme?
As good as Green Bay is, and as not so good as maybe the rest of the division is right now, Detroit, new coaching staff, rookie quarterback in Chicago, maybe now it's the time where, again, they took Love for a reason. They didn't just take him in the
totally brushed over
round.
The Vikings like nothing's going on.
Well, because again, I'm not afraid of the Vikings. Kirk Cousins, are you afraid of Kirk Cousins? I'm not.
Who's afraid of him?
Again, now's the time. Everybody's at the start line. Everybody's pretty much is at the same place.
Right.
So again, but why would you take a guy? We've beat this to death. You took a quarterback in the first round because you expected him to do what? Sit? I don't think so. The guy's going to play for them at some point. He's going to be their quarterback. So unless he's not ready for the transition. And the Packers know that best, then why would now not be the best time to make that transition? Okay, to get a boatload of picks for Aaron, which you'll get, maybe even a player or two as well, who knows? But his value is at the highest point right now, and certainly in terms of position for the Packers and where they are, Jordan Love plays this year, even if he's a decent quarterback. They're still a 10-win team and probably win that division anyway. And they're building for next year. And that's
by virtue of their defense.
And defense, and again with Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams and they can play. They're still going to probably win that division again based on default because, again, those other teams are to some degree taking their first steps. New quarterback, new coaches, etc. So if you make the move, now's the time. In my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, just that's my opinion. Now, again, Aaron Rodgers, that's not a knock on Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers goes back to the Packers this year. They still win the division. They probably still make their way into the playoffs because they'll get home field. and they'll be in a position to move on. But when do you make that move? And, again, I just think if they did it now, it would not be a terrible move for Green Bay.
Okay. On to number 2. And this is a good one. What do you think LeBron James's next step is going to be? Is his next step going to be, is he going to win an NBA title? Or is he going to get a star on the Walk of Fame?
Yeah, well, clearly to me, I don't know. I was on Team LeBron this year, earlier in the year, Anthony Davis, the Lakers.
He's expanding the brand.
They won it last year. I thought they were going to be the favorite to win it this year. But here's the tell for me. Post-game, his comments were just, shocking to me. He didn't look that upset, first of all, and clearly he looked distracted. And after getting bounced in the first round by perhaps your arch enemy in the NBA, he's talking about Hollywood and his movie and Space Jam and all this other stuff.
Yeah, this is all really bad, and it really sucked that we lost, but I got a meeting. I got to go. Bye.
He's bringing up the characters and the plot lines and all this stuff. This is the first press game.
Just ask him, how would Bugs Bunny handle
this?
There's
sweat still coming off his brow, and he's talking about Space Jam. Okay, here's the thing. I wasn't in some sort of euphoric dreamland that when LeBron went to the Lakers and Showtime and they were going to win all these championships. It's no longer about basketball for LeBron. Okay.
It's the brand.
And that was a large consideration, I'm sure, for him in the move to LA. Now, granted, he doesn't know the NBA anything. He doesn't know anybody anything. He's been one of the greatest players to ever grace the game. Okay. Titles, championships. It's tough to find bad things to say about LeBron. But if you thought that it was going to be run after run after run in the West, Clearly, that's not going to happen. So
Well, he wants to be like Mike.
yeah. So for me, I think his next title, his next fame is going to be a star on the Walk of Shame.
He wants to be like Mike.
Yeah.
We all know this. He wants to be a billionaire like Mike, because we know Mike's worth more than $1 billion
Well,
now.
I think LeBron's very
And
close.
he's been worth more than $1 billion for a while.
Yeah.
Okay. And LeBron is LeBron James has been making about 4 times what Michael Jordan made while he played. I mean, the maximum. I mean, Michael Jordan made, I think his maximum was $21 million
towards
the end of his Chicago run.
Yeah,
it was
something
like
like
20 and 21 million,
Yeah.
and I mean,
Yeah, it's
so-
25 years ago. I mean, the
Right.
game, the money, the finances are totally
LeBron
different now.
made what, 50 million this year?
Yeah, it's
I mean,
46.
please.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, 46, something
Yeah.
ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
So he is probably going to get to $1 billion a lot faster than Mike did, because I mean, it took Mike until he was like 50 to get there.
Yeah, well, Mike also had Nike, and that was
He had Nike. He had his brand.
Yeah.
You know, he had commercials.
Yeah.
He had major commercials. He had major commercials like McDonald's.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, you like my segue? It's a good
Nice.
segue.
Well,
huh?
they don't know that yet, but it's coming.
They don't know yet.
It's
but,
coming.
Well, that brings me to my question. What is your favorite sports related commercial
Of all time.
of all time?
Man, I went through this, and even though I didn't spend hours and hours, you'd need that. There were so many great sports commercials, but one of my favorite sports commercials
Not
was,
Mean Joe Green.
again,
Coca-Cola.
Sure, on the
Hey,
list.
kid.
Yeah, hey, kid, take this.
Take my sweaty ass jersey.
Yeah, take it. That's worth $8 million today if you still had it.
Can you imagine if it was a real jersey though? There would have been like a wet towel sound.
Yeah, the kid would have been like, "Oh, what is this?" I liked it when the commercials were about products as opposed to about opinions and politics and all that stuff. So I'm
Right.
going back a few years. I'm going back to Michael Jordan and Larry Bird and the McDonald's commercials when they were like nothing but net. Those are my favorite ones. So,
Is that your intro?
yeah,
Nothing but net.
Nothing but net.
Well, here it is.
This is for your Big Mac, right? First one that misses,
Watches the winner eat lunch. Got it.
off the glass. Get in.
Nice shot.
One knee.
Which knee? Get in there.
Off the floor, off the scoreboard, off the bank board, no rim.
So that's it. I mean, we will only do like the first half of it
Yeah.
because we don't want YouTube or McDonald's or anybody else to
Get mad
hit
at
us
us.
with a violation.
Put something in my
we
burger.
want people to be able to see this.
Yeah. So anyway, that's one of my favorite commercials of all time. There are so many great ones. You mentioned
Yeah.
Mean Joe Green. There's so many great commercials.
Oh, yeah.
All the Super Bowl commercials are phenomenal. The Clydesdales put them on the
O.J.
map in
Simpson's
Budweiser.
Hertz rent-a-car.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
OJ hurdling rows of chairs in an
Yes.
airport. Can you imagine if you tried to run in an airport right now?
Oh, my gosh.
You'd get tackled. You'd get
Yes.
shot.
Yeah, all those.
Put dogs on you.
Yeah, it'd be over.
Not to mention the fact that you murdered 2 people.
At least.
At least.
At least.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean there have been a ton of iconic commercials, but yeah, that was definitely one of them. I
Yeah,
mean,
that
because
run
the
with
two of
those
them
guys.
going back for. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, and Larry, I had the privilege of seeing both of those guys play, and I will tell everybody till the day I die, I got to see Michael Jordan up close and personal, coming at me in 3D because I was behind the stanchion waiting to do one of those stupid games where you spin around on your forehead and everything, and I had him coming at me.
That's awesome.
Okay, yeah. Well, I also yelled and got Phil Jackson to go, "Who the hell is that guy?" But he was traveling. But I also got a chance to see Larry Bird. It was old man Larry Bird. It was bad back Larry Bird. But he still, I think he was like 12 of 14. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the guy just did not miss. He did not miss. He was 100 at the time, but still, he
He
did
can shoot
not
it.
miss.
He can shoot it.
It was amazing. Okay, so moving on from that, and please, I hope everybody can still see us. We haven't been yanked off of
I don't see any
YouTube yet.
smoke anywhere.
Right? Well, yeah, the smoke will be coming out here any moment now. But okay, moving on to the next question because I am a prepared professional and I know how to get these next questions ready to go. All right, so it's actually number 4 now. Stadiums or man caves? Okay, we're moving to that past the pandemic, era of moving past the pandemic, getting back to some semblance of normality, and we're seeing some difficulty already with getting people back in the stadiums.
Yeah.
Filling up stadiums. And I mean, part of that is nervousness because of people also realize that pandemic's not over and the cooties are still out there. Okay, but what's it going to take to get people back in the seats, asses in seats?
The issue, I mean, right now you're having finally stadiums open up so people are allowed to get back in. So you're going to have excitement. You're going to have people that have wanted to get out of the house that have been trapped in their houses for a year.
Look at the EuroLeague. The EuroLeague soccer opened up, which, by the way, they've had a player that went down in Hendrickson. He had some sort of a heart failure or something. And, I mean, we're not soccer guys, but we don't want to see somebody die.
No.
But they're opening up to 50, 60,000 people. They're still going half capacity.
Yeah, well, soccer's generally going to draw. I think it's a huge drawing sport internationally. But our issue here is going to be to get people in the seats. Again, early on, I think you're not going to see that issue because people are just excited to get out of the house. But the home experience right now, number one, it's much cheaper. Okay, ticket prices, concession prices, parking prices, gas prices. It's so expensive to go down to see any games right now. That's one. And people just, again, they're tight money-wise because most of them weren't working for a period of time.
Right.
That's an issue. And number two, again, like I said, it's not only cheaper to watch the games at home, but you have access to everything. Let's just look at the NFL, the Red Zone channel. You can pretty much watch any game you like at any point during the day on your couch.
Yeah.
And you have access to the stuff that you were involved with, which is fantasy, sports, and gambling, which are the
Gamble.
trains that drive the sport, and any sport.
And listen, even the leagues understand this because they have entered into promotional agreements and partnerships with DraftKings and various gambling sites.
And face recognition, name recognition is important, but again, still, the option is going to be, or the decision is going to be up to the fans whether or not they want to go down to the stadiums. And they're going to have to face those two huge challenges, which is going to be financial obstacles and easeability and accessibility to what the fans want. Mm-hmm. And they're going to struggle with it. I think it's going to be a real issue. So I think
they'll have to adapt.
They'll have to lower prices and then also offer at least opportunities, whether it's through Wi-Fi exposures or just rooms of entertainment, whatever they want to call it. Yeah, to lend to the fan experience. Yep. And not just the fan experience at that particular game, but the overall fan experience.
Yep.
And that's going to have to be the direction in which these sports teams go.
Yep, they have no choice.
Yeah.
Sorry, billionaires. You got to give it up. Got to be a little discount salesman right now. Okay, moving on to number 5. The NH Who?
Yeah. Oof.
I like the initial opening NH Who. So the finals.
They're playing hockey right now.
They're playing hockey right now.
Playoffs, fairly exciting. Yeah, probably one of the best exciting sports to have playoffs in. The urgency. Sure. It's constant action.
Fights,
but nobody's
trying to kill each other.
Nobody's watching it. That's a problem. It's been a problem. It's never changed. My quick proposal to that is this: when you opened up integration in baseball 100 years ago, clearly, what it did to the game was it changed the game. Okay, it changed the game. Why? Because you introduced athletes from areas that were never introduced to that sport before that were just as good, if not better, than the athletes that were already in the sport.
African-American athletes.
Any athletes of either color or minority sense, or just, again, any athlete that just did not have exposure.
Well, listen, pre-Jackie Robinson, Latinos were more welcome than African Americans.
100%. But it was still such a low overall number in sports at that time. Now, we're so many years past that at this point. We have clearly developed ways to find talent. NFL does it, college football with the recruiting, baseball with the farm systems. Hockey does have a large European influence because that's obviously in Canada. That's a very huge hockey influence. But I don't think that they've recognized what discounting the southern states does or doesn't do for hockey.
Oh, listen, let's acknowledge the elephant in the room. It's a black and white situation.
For some
Okay?
possibilities.
It's a black and white situation because what we're seeing is Canadians of African descent are usually the first ones that have gotten into the National Hockey League.
Right.
Okay. And recently we have seen an entire starting front line.
Yes, first time ever, all blacks on the starting line. Not sure of the team,
Right.
But again, I'm not going to. I'm not
Tampa
just
Bay.
going to say that it's a black and white thing. It's part of the issue. It's an exposure issue. No matter what color you are.
Listen, black folks don't like the cold.
Yeah,
Okay, that's one big reason. First of all,
Well, again,
okay,
yes.
the black folks don't like the cold.
I get it.
Okay, even if in your northern states or whatnot. Okay, but, you don't have a lot of black people going out, running around outside playing in any sports because black folks don't like the cold.
Right. Well,
okay,
here's what I'm gonna
it's,
say.
It's stereotypical, but it's kind
The
of
NHL
true.
powers to be, I would think by this point, would have a way to just expose or get exposure to areas that just don't have that exposure now.
Right.
And they should be doing that because the potential, the athletic potential in the athletes that they're not reaching is enormous. We've seen it in all the sports. And again, being in the South, you generate a lot of athletes. That's just
Sure.
how it is. And part of that is because you have great weather year round, and guys and women can be outside in training and being involved in all the things they do to make them good at what they do, their craft, their
Right.
sport. So hockey needs to move the mark, reset the bar, whatever the analogies are.
But I'm telling you, listen, I'm telling you right now, okay, one stumbling block, and the NHL, and this has happened in the past, they call it community outreach, okay, because they want to appeal to the African-American sports fan, okay, and there's an African-American, there's a black fan base with the NHL. You look up in the crowd, it's not all white faces, okay? But there is a bit of a cultural aspect with an aversion to the cold. So what you're not going to get is you're not going to get typical black athletes that are culturally black that are adverse to the cold, okay? They're not going to play in the outdoor rinks. So you're not going to get development from the grade school level because those kids play outdoors, okay, especially in the North and in Canada, okay? So you're going to have a cultural aspect that is going to hinder that.
It may be a part of
Okay,
it.
but the NHL has been hesitant to go that far to address the black elephant in the room, and they need to address the black. Whether they thought it was tacky or inappropriate or whatnot, we're beyond that now as a culture. We are beyond that now. Okay, so it's to the point where if you want to include minorities, Latinos, African Americans, even Asians. Are there any Asian hockey players besides? We had we had some Asian kids from California that were hockey players.
Yeah,
I
I think there were.
the brother and sister. It's killing me. I'm not a hockey guy, but
Yeah.
I am a sports guy, and I'm telling you, and I'm a culture guy, and the NHL needs to get over itself and expand their community outreach and create opportunities for minorities, more opportunities for minorities to be exposed to and enjoy and play, and maybe they show talent for playing ice hockey.
Better athletes, better sport. That's
Period.
how it works. That's in any sport. So whatever the exposure is to whoever it may be, it's whoever's not seeing it now. White, black, green, blue, I don't care.
Purple.
Get it out there. Find the people that are the athletes that can make your sport better. So hockey has not done that, and I don't.
Green, I want to see Orions out there,
Yeah.
aliens. But yeah, it's definitely it's a situation where you can only improve the product. Honest to God, you can only improve the product. Okay, because some of these kids are athletically gifted, and you're having an athletically gifted kid who has relegated himself to competing in the oversaturated basketball market or the oversaturated football market. Okay, you need to push these kids to baseball and hockey. There's not enough African American kids in baseball nowadays.
I agree.
There's just not. There's black guys. I'm like, yeah, there's black guys. There's black guys who are Latinos. They're Dominicans. They're Cubans. They're Venezuelans. They're Puerto Ricans. Okay, they're, just because it's the color of their skin, that culturally they're not black, they're just brown. You know, you need African American kids to get involved in more of them get involved in baseball too. I lament, speaking of Bob Gibson, I lament I lament the fading of the African American culture influence in baseball.
The numbers have come down a little bit, I think, across the board. You have a higher Latino influence than you do
of course
African American. But again, it's exposure, it's other things. So,
well, it's the same with soccer. I mean, look at how many outstanding African American soccer players have started to come through the U.S. soccer system. Okay, and now some of them are playing over in Europe, which is the elite level. And you, of course, in Europe, you see African players, from Cameroon coming up and playing on a pro level, an elite pro level. Okay, it's not necessarily the culture of the country that they're coming from, okay, but it's just the inclusion, and when they're included, then the elite athleticism shows. Some of them are elite athletic, some of them aren't elite athletic. Okay, this isn't about black people are superiorly in sports. They're genetically disposed to being superior athletes. No, it's about inclusion. It's about inclusion of a kid who has talent.
You can't hide athletic talent.
No.
You either have it or you don't.
Nope.
You can see a guy throw a football 60 yards.
Right.
You can see a guy hit a baseball 400 feet. You can see a guy run, a 10-second whatever.
Sure.
Whatever. Again, so you can't hide that.
People point to the NBA because there's such a large majority of their players are of African American descent or people of color, if you will. We're going to get PC about it. Okay. But how about this? Part of the reason why African Americans have proliferated in basketball is because basketball became a big part of their culture. Okay, big part of their culture. So the kids learned from 2 years old how to dribble a basketball. It was all part of their culture. Okay, because African Americans, a great majority, live in the cities, and it's the easiest sport to play in the city. You can't play baseball on the street. There is no street baseball. It's tough
to play street ball.
Yeah, there is no street baseball. So the reason why that's proliferated like it has within black culture is because of the urban lifestyle and the ability to be able to play basketball anywhere, in a driveway. On a street corner, in a vacant lot. You don't need a lot of space. Okay, so when you get to basketball, I mean, look at the Europeans that are coming over. Okay, are we going to say that people from Croatia are more genetically disposed to be excellent basketball players?
They have better ball handling skills.
But what I'm saying is the genetic argument and the cultural argument contradict. They just contradict. Okay? The same for football, same for any other sport. Give the kids opportunities to play the sport and learn the sport and love the sport.
Yep. Exposure. Gotta have exposure.
Exactly.
Yep.
You racists.
Be surprised.
Okay. I had to throw in racist somewhere. Wait, we got one more, I believe.
I think there's one more question.
I think there's one more. Yes. Speaking of basketball. All right. The NBA MVP. We kind of brushed on it already.
Somebody got that title, didn't they, this year?
Yeah, Jokic.
Yes.
The Joker.
Jokic.
Not your pick.
Yeah. No, hasn't been.
And,
good player, though.
And we speculate that your pick and my pick, I agree, will be playing in the NBA Finals this year.
Probably so. Yeah. They gave out the award to the most valuable player, I guess, in Denver, because as good as
the regular season.
Yeah, that's right. This is a regular season award. I keep forgetting because the regular season means a lot. Certainly when you compare it to the playoffs and titles. So they gave Jokic the award, which again, when we looked earlier in the year, if LeBron had stayed healthy, let's say the entire year, and LeBron didn't stay healthy the entire year, it was always going to be whoever was the hottest player at that moment, and then LeBron was second. So you had 4 or 5 guys, 3 or 4 guys maybe jockeying besides LeBron, is certainly leading up to this point. Joker being one of them. Durant earlier, then he was hurt, and Harden, then he was hurt. So again, but finally they gave it to Jokic. Okay, well deserved. He had a fantastic season. The guy's an amazing player. He is what makes Denver go. But he's going to be home probably after tonight. And
Probably.
handily, may I add, because there's a chance they get swept by a team of kids and Chris Paul, who, in my opinion,
And Jay Crowder, don't forget Jay Crowder, dude.
but I'm arguing my MVP here, and Jay Crowder is not the MVP. He at best is maybe 6th man of the year, and you can argue that. I love Jay Crowder. I'm a Jay Crowder guy, but
Huge.
Chris Paul, the unsung hero here in the West, the dude just shows up and wins. He reestablishes the culture where he goes. Accountability is the priority, certainly, and the young guys,
Influence.
Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton, and these guys are just playing, and they're in a great spot. They're up 3-0.
I mean, listen, when they had the super team in Houston, who do you think was the problem? Was it CP3?
Yeah.
Was it Harden? Who was the problem?
It
Do you
wasn't
really
CP3.
think? Exactly.
It was an immature Harden at that point. Again,
Yeah.
there was a lot of mouths to feed. He thought he was getting his, not fed enough, and
Yeah.
there was problems, and then he left. So again, Chris Paul does not need to be explained anymore. He doesn't have to be defended
No.
based upon his actions. He's already made his mark, and clearly this year is his best chance to this point to get that first title. And to me, that's the award that we should be focused on,
Right.
and not this BS MVP award they give out before the playoffs start, essentially.
Well,
and
they
it
should
means
listen.
nothing.
They should break things down to this: most outstanding player in the regular season. Okay, you have a grading system. Okay, most outstanding player in the regular season. Then in the MVP race, that player will also be included in the MVP race. Okay, but then you take the most outstanding player of the playoffs. And then you take the most outstanding player or the MVP of the finals.
Yeah.
Then you factor those all of those in. So if you don't make it to the end to the finals, then you would really have to be the MVP of the regular season, the MVP of the playoffs, but not make it to the finals.
Yeah.
To have a chance winning 2 out of 3 to be the league MVP. The overall MVP.
Most of the sports have all types of awards. Comeback Player of the Year, Rookie
Look at
of the
hockey
Year.
for crying out loud.
And again, all these awards are usually named after great contributors to the game at some point. I'm
Lady
okay.
Bing,
I'm okay with
Norris
awards.
Trophy.
I'm just saying. I'm not a fan of the MVP award because it's very vague. Are you MVP, like you're saying, of the regular season? Are you MVP of your team? Are you MVP of your conference? Are you MVP in your bathroom? Are you MVP anywhere? Who knows?
I am the MVP of my bathroom
usually
every
I am
day.
too. But the point, it's to me, it doesn't have a lot of weight. It doesn't carry a lot of weight. It doesn't knock his play. It doesn't knock him as a player. Okay, he's still one of the great players in the NBA and will be for a long time.
But outstanding player of the regular season.
I guess. And even that's debatable. So I'm just not into these awards because nobody talks about. Can you tell me who won the league MVP 8 years ago? No. Can you tell me
LeBron
who?
James.
He probably didn't because he's only won it like twice. But who cares? Who cares? MVP award, great. Put it on your mantle. Put it somewhere. Put it in your sock drawer. Just it's a silly award. I'm not about MVP guy. I'm about MVP of the finals because guess what? You got your team to where it's supposed to be.
Sure.
But I'm not MVP of the regular season. I think that's just a silly award. So, and if it was, I wouldn't give it to him. I'd give it to Chris Paul based upon what he's done so
I
far.
wonder who has ever won the hat trick. League MVP, finals MVP, and win the finals.
I don't know.
I wonder who's ever won the hat
I'm
trick.
not sure.
We'll Google it later.
Yeah.
All right, well, that wraps up the Mazz Hysteria. And we got to get a little in about aliens because there's been a lot going on with aliens lately.
Stuff in the sky, dude.
And now we're starting to see the experts are starting to come back in and they're like, stop wishing for alien contact.
Yeah.
And everybody, well, why not? Why would we have alien contact? It's because it's not going to go like Star Trek. It's not going to go where they're going to go, hey, how you doing? Hey, live long and prosper. Shake your hand. Hey, we're going to show you all this cool stuff. It's going to go more like Columbus meeting the Indians. Okay, it's going to go like Columbus meeting the Indians. They're going to be a technically advanced, culturally more advanced civilization that's going to run into us. And let's face facts: no matter how much cool art we have or how much we think we're cool, and humanity number one. Okay,
I'm pretty cool.
No,
Just not that cool.
Okay. We run into a civilization that can travel through space so far, so fast, whatever propulsion system, whatever navigation system, whatever travel system they have, okay, you know that their weapons are going to be more advanced. You know that their physical abilities are probably going to be way more advanced, because they're going to be more evolved creatures than we are.
They're going to be shorter too.
The stature doesn't matter. They
More
could
efficient.
be blobs.
More efficient.
But they're going to show up,
They're going to be compact.
and we are going to be like poop flinging chimps to these people. Oh, look, the monkey's using a stick to eat the ants. Okay,
Pretty much that's how
it's
it's
not
gonna be.
going to go well for us.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with that.
Yeah, so careful what you wish for. It's going to be more of an ID4 situation, except Independence Day ain't gonna come.
Yeah,
because the real version of that movie is we all die. The real version of that movie is the planet gets laid to waste, and very few of us survive to maybe keep the human race alive as a species. Okay, and restart civilization. We will be in trouble.
But we'll still do our podcast.
But we'll be here every Sunday at 11
o'clock.
a.m.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll talk about the game we'll talk about the rock game, because that's all we're going to be able to do is play with rocks. Somebody found a football. Eat it. It's made out of leather. That's food.
That's funny.
It's true. What, am I bringing the room down? What?
Yeah.
Aliens are going to beat us. They're going to crush us.
I think they're going to come hang out with us. They're already here. Listen, I think we should integrate them into hockey. How good would the sport be then if you had a few aliens on the center line? That's just my opinion.
All right. You have anything else to add?
No. First time ever, 3 aliens were on one line together. I mean, think about that storyline. No, I'm good. I'm done.
Come on, Mang.
Hey, Mang. That's all I got. That's all I got.
Christ. All right. Well, on behalf of myself and the Mazz, thank you so very, very much for watching our silliness here on another Sunday afternoon or morning, or it's technically afternoon now.
Now it is, yeah.
Make sure you tune in to all those playoff games. Watch for the sweep. Again, go Jazz. And I don't know.
Go Suns, go Jazz.
Anything left?
No.
Please, aliens, don't hurt us.
Yeah. Rocks.
We'll make great pets.
Rocks, huh?
Yeah, you play rock. Not rock, paper, scissors, just rock.
We're going to play rock.
Okay. Cool. Of course, you can catch the Mazz on @MLBJoyUs on the Instagrams, because he doesn't know where else.
That's it.
Get a Twitter account for
One
crying out
place.
loud. What are you, a caveman?
I'm in the corner.
He plays rock.
I play rock.
And, of course, you can search the Gonzo Radio on all platforms except Facebook, because Facebook is friggin' useless.
Yeah.
You
low life. You
I can't
evil
crap
person.
on Facebook enough. I can't crap on Facebook enough. They suspended me for 3 days because I said something snarky about people who drive like crap. It should be legal to shoot them.
Ooh, that's harsh.
That's harsh.
A little bit.
I didn't say shoot them with what? Maybe beanbags, pellet guns. But anyway,
the bird.
So immediately 3-day ban, and then I come back from the 3-day ban. And I had another violation, community standards violation, for a 6-year-old post. They're going back and they're retroactively violating memes from 6 and 7 years ago when their community standards were totally different. Okay, I think it's PC hysteria, and
Censorship
I think
at
it's
its
stupid.
finest, yeah.
And I think that Facebook is stupid, and
it's scary,
I'm going to be using it less and less every day. Nothing but promotion. That's all you're going to get from me. So on behalf of myself and the Mazz, Facebook is stupid, right?
Aliens or not.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll see you guys again next week here on the Gonzo Radio Network. Bye.